Howdy folks, and welcome back to Blender Beginners class, week 3, where we're going to be creating materials for this car, applying them, and creating a UV map, and baking those materials onto the UV map. So let's get started. I've imported the car, I've got my screencast keys on. I'm just going to go into properties, click on the little thing that looks like a telly, that's rendering properties. Just going to set to cycles because that's what we need to get the job done. So just going to click on the materials. Now we need to make some new materials that we can apply to the car. So pretty straightforward. Click on it. I'm going to kind of do them in order. I'm going to have paintwork. It's going to be a green colour. Maybe not quite so bright green. Oh, paintwork 01. That's not very good. Let's just change that. Paintwork. Let's have another one. We'll have a material for the tyres. It's going to be a dark grey colour. Maybe like that. Oh, very kindly sticking 001 on the end of things for us. Another one for the windows. And that's going to be a black colour. I don't like the way it's giving it silly names. There, get off. We also need one for the headlights. Headlights. It's going to be a kind of pale yellow colour. We need another one for the brake lights. Let's do that there. Oops, let's do that there. Brake lights. Give that a red colour. And we want another one for fittings. And that's going to be a kind of pale blue colour, as if it's kind of chrome. Excellent. Now let's start applying these. So into edit mode, we can select the whole model. We can say yep, assign the green colour to it for the paintwork. I go into that view, is slightly easier to see. Then I'm going to colour our tyres, so I'm just selecting hovering over vertices, pressing L for linked. Do that on each tyre. Tyres assign. I'd like to have kind of chrome details, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the centre hub of the wheels. I'm going to press Control and plus on my keypad to grow the selection, and I'm going to apply the fittings colour to that. Also, let's do the windows, so I'm just shift left clicking those to select them. Relatively straightforward. Select the windows, assign the colour. Let's do the lights, so pressing L to select linked on the lights front and back, assign, and we can do the headlights as well. So let's just shift select those, headlights assign. Let's shift select the brake lights, make sure we haven't got the headlights still selected, don't think we have. Brake lights assign, and I think that's almost it, almost. I'm going to select the grille, make that a black colour like the windows, and I'd like the I'd like the grill to be kind of silvery colour as well, so just pressing L to select the linked, make that like the fittings assign. And at this stage, I don't know if I'm going to bother doing the bumpers. And at this stage, I think we're kind of getting there. Let's just check to make sure we've got the colours correct. Back to edit mode. Bit of singing there. And Windows, yep. And tires, yep. Okay. So we've created our materials, applied them to the car. That's great. Let's go back into object mode. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a UV unwrap for the car. So I'm just going to pull out my side panel so we can see that a little easier. I'm going to go to the UV editor. I'm going to click on the new button to create a new image. 1024 by 1024, that's fine. I'm going to call it UV map. Hasn't got alpha in it. I don't want it to be a black colour. I'd much like it to be a grey colour. There's no alpha. And we can say OK. So that's our blank texture called UV map. We're going to go into edit mode. You can see the car isn't currently unwrapped. So I'm just going to select all of the car, and with my cursor in the 3D window, press U for unwrap, UV unwrap, and we're going to choose Smart UV Project and correct aspect, stretch UV, that's fine, 66, OK, that's fine, so we say OK to that. Let's just have a look at that and see how the unwrap looks. That's not actually brilliant. We could do with a little bit more space between the UV unwraps. So let's do a reset on that. Smart UV Project. We want island margins. Let's just knock that up a little bit. That just gives it a little more space around the unwraps. You can see that there's just a little bit of space between each one now, which is great. So let's go back to our properties window. And now we're going to go into our, let's do object mode. Let's go into our shading workspace. Here we go. And you can see that we've got here our car, and you can see that we've got our texture. Every time I click on a texture, a material rather, not a texture, you can see the shader for it in the shader window. Now the thing is, when we bake these materials to the UV texture, we actually need to have the UV texture as a node in each one of these materials. So in order to do that, I'm just going to go back to the UV editor, make sure I've got it selected, our UV map, and I'm going to save that image. So I'm going to do save as. I'm going to save it into my desktop as uvmap.png, save as image. There we go. So if I go to my desktop, you should be able to see there's my UV image. Let's just go back to the properties window so that we can see what we're doing. So we're just going to work through these materials one at a time. So there's my UV map. I'm pretty sure that's my UV map. I think it's that one actually. So drag and drop. just make sure it's highlighted. We do that to each and every material. And headlights, brake lights, and fittings. Great, so that's put our UV map into each one of those materials. We're now going to create, and I'm just going to change this window to my UV editor. There we go, that's because that's better for us when we actually come to do the UV baking. I'm going to create a new material called UV map. So as we did before, click on the plus, new material, UV map, enter, and we'll use that in a minute once we've done the baking. So let's actually do the baking now. So if we go into edit mode, you can see that we've got our UV map there. We're just going to go to the rendering option here. We're going to go down to bake, and we just need to change these settings. So we actually need to change it from combined to diffuse, which is the colour, and take off direct and indirect. Margin is a bit big, so we can set the margin down to 1, and now we should be able to bake. So if I click on bake, okay, it's complaining that we haven't got the UV texture in our UV map, so but it is baking the image. There we go. So there's our UV map bake, and now we're going to apply that texture onto the car. And to do that, we make sure that we're back in our texture. We've got the UV map texture selected, UV map material rather. Just going to drag this UV map onto the car. Actually, I forgot to save that file, didn't I? So we could do another bake on that. Should we try that? That would be a wicked idea, wouldn't it? So we can go back to here, click on bake again, and here we go. You can see that we've now baked that, so we can save that image. If I can find the save button, I'm not sure I can. Image, yes we can. We'll do a save on that, so we're just replacing the one that, and you can see that it saved it. And as we've got our UV map material selected, you can see that it's just a white material that's going to the material output. We don't need that BSDF because we're going to use the texture, so we can just highlight, delete it, press the delete key, and we're going to connect our UV map, the colour, into the surface, and that has now actually applied that UV map to the car. And to prove the point, I can go into, let's go back to the 3D view or our layout view. To prove the point, I can actually, in object mode, I can select these materials, and I can delete them all apart from the UV map. So just press the minus, and you can see the car changing colour as the materials disappear. And when we get to the last one, that's actually what our car looks like with the UV map. So now we can export it. So we would do File, Export, Collada, choose OpenSim Static, selection only, that's fine, copy the texture maps, that's fine, and I'll stick it on the desktop. I'll just call it green car and say export collada, and then we should be able to go into OpenSim Second Life and import it. Okay, great. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you found that helpful, and keep your eyes peeled on our Blender channels. Take care and see you again next week. Bye for now.